Path by C.A. Wynn. Akhat kicked the sign. How many times had he stumbled over that very sheet of metal? He must have read it at least once. If he had, he couldn't remember what it said. Bending over, he lifted it by a broken corner. Faded red and blue rectangles covered it, interrupted by yellow lettering and dark symbols. The sign's original message was no longer legible. Instead, 4 words were scrawled across it in black. They were words he knew by heart. "The end is near," it said. "Maybe it was for you," he spat. "For some of us, it never seems to come." "What does it say?" asked the old man. Akhat still wasn't accustomed to the old man's voice that hacked the air like a jagged knife. The old man said his name was Calogero. Akhat had trouble shaping his mouth to it. Was that from thirst, or just a lack of practice, he wondered. "Says there's hope for us yet," Akhat called. "Hope?" Calogero asked. "I wouldn't think so." The sign clanked against the cracked concrete, kicking up a fine dust. They stood in the ruins of a fuel station. A rural highway lay beside it, blistered by years of sun and neglect. Weeds pushed through cracks and seams. The uneven yellow lines faded to near invisibility against the weathered asphalt. Akhat pulled the strap on his backpack tighter, shifting the weight around to make it more comfortable. He bent to grab the handles of his makeshift sled, then straightened his back and resumed walking along the side of the road. His feet fell into a steady, comfortable rhythm. He made sure not to walk on the asphalt. You could call it superstition, or just a reluctance to repeat the mistakes of the past. "I don't care what you call it," he muttered. "What?" asked Calogero. Akhat didn't respond, accustomed to thinking out loud. Now that he had company, he might have to be more careful about what he said. Then again, it probably didn't matter. In his solitude, Akhat had worn a path in the dirt along the road. This trail reached the base of the mountains. He once knew how far it was. He had even counted his steps. Like everything else, these facts were now lost to time. "Where are we going?" Calogero's voice was faint. Akhat stopped to look back. The old man lagged behind more than expected. Limping, Calogero's feet shuffled slowly through the dust. His threadbare clothing hung from narrow shoulders. This was how Akhat might look if luck ever abandoned him. Akhat took a deep breath. They had a long walk ahead of them. He wanted to inspire haste. "We're going to the mountains. I have a shelter there," he said. "There's plenty here," said Calogero. "Why not stay in town?" The question reminded Akhat that he hadn't liked people much before the event. Despite this, he'd spent years hoping to come across another survivor. More recently, he realized that being the last living human might not have been so bad after all. "You're welcome to stay, old man," Akhat said. "I go where the water and the game are." How long was Akhat the last man alive before Calogero arrived? How many times had the snows returned to the top of the mountains? 8 or 9? Maybe 10. He had gone many years without the voice of another. Many years with only his thoughts. No one to answer to, no one to take care of. Akhat once expected to miss people, conversation, laughter. If that was ever true, it was only during dark times when the end finally did seem near. That's when he shouted for companionship. Or was it God he called for? He no longer knew the difference. Calogero stumbled, falling hard to the ground. It was how Akhat had found him, sprawled on the desert floor, clinging to life. Birds had announced the man with their cries. On his way to the spot, Akhat had imagined a dying rabbit, its heart failing, its breath slowed. He'd expected to prepare meals. Instead, he found someone to take care of, a voice to hew the still air. He wondered now if he should have left the old man there. The birds would have feasted, and the earth would have reclaimed him, a familiar cycle repeating as it had countless times before. Here he stood again, a choice to be made. He could continue alone, make this man a memory. His life would return to the peaceful and uncomplicated rhythm he'd come to know. He would sleep this night alone in his shelter. He would be closer to the probability, if not certainty, that he was the very last human alive. He looked to the top of the mountains. Snow began to accumulate there. Above this shone the full light of day. As so often before, the sun's glare recalled the event. A blazing flash, silence, desolation. He closed his eyes to the light and took a deep breath. His life had always been full of surprises, challenges, decisions. This was just the latest. Turning to Calogero, he let the pack slide from his shoulders, left it behind, and approached the old man. Grasping thin arms, he gently lifted. Resigned to traveling more slowly, he helped the old man along the path. They moved past his pack and the waiting sled. From the gear, Akhat grabbed a loose piece of metal and offered it as a walking support. Calogero's weight settled against the metal. It held. There is time yet to be the last, he thought. End of Path by C.A.Wynn.